Hello, and welcome to another edition of Living Simply and Fun, and I got a special treat this time. I will be reviewing, and this is actually a kind of threefold review, I suppose. Although, in a way, it's a twofold review. This is confusing. But I will be reviewing... Geez, I wish that showed up much better. This is the Sweet Jane. Now, this is just one of three yummy bitches. I'll quote Von Boyd there. That Deadwood Tobacco Company sells. They have the Sweet Jane, the Fat Bottom Betty, which I have one of those. I can show you with the halfway point on this. And the Crazy Alice, which is a unique Vitola. Very unique from what I've seen. The wrapper on this... this isn't on their site, so I emailed Vaughn himself, Vaughn Boyd, and I asked directly some questions, and I asked, what's the wrapper? And my answer was broadleaf, so I assume that's either Connecticut or Pennsylvania, but that's not definitive. I assume from the coloration it's probably Pennsylvania broadleaf of the two, but I can't be 100% certain. The binder is Nicaraguan, and the filler, to quote Vaughn, is an exotic blend of tobaccos that, if aged longer, would be pipe tobacco. It's all long filler. I assume most of the tobaccos are probably Nicaraguan origin because of Drew Estate, but you know.
The box said Esteli, Nicaragua.
Well, yes. But that doesn't mean all the tobaccos come from there. That's because that's where Drew Estate is. These are made by Drew Estate for Deadwood. I asked him what the flavor is because I've heard that they were infused cigars or flavored cigars. He says they are not, all capitalized, not infused or flavored. Only the tip is sweetened, and because of the blend of tobaccos, it's an aromatic, so the two combine together, and it kind of gives you the feeling that you're smoking a flavored cigar, but it is not a flavored cigar. It is only flavored on the tip.
Now, why is it flavored over in this side? It smells really good, in my opinion.
That's the aromatic.
Hello, everyone. Queen Nub here with you.
And you know pipes well enough. You should know what the difference between aromatic tobaccos
exactly,
and non-aromatic.
And I just wanted to say...
And this does smell very aromatic.
I do want to say, since he brought it up, that I'm a pipe smoker first and foremost, so I like aromatic pipe tobaccos, but that one there is a cigar I can see him smoking in the house without me saying, go outside.
She loved the room, though.
Smells. Most cigars are stinky.
I asked Vaughn again if anybody at Deadwood had any work in creating this cigar. Had any of them gone down to Nicaragua and Esteli and worked with Jonathan Drew and company and actually blended this? And he says, and his quote was, "I was not hands-on in the binding, but I came up with the taste I was after, and Drew Estate got it exactly right the very first time." So I guess Drew Estate was left to their devices while the flavors were come up from Deadwood, and so it was born. And then as for the blender who blended it down there, he says he believes it was Nick Melillo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Don't butcher it now.
I don't want to butcher it. He says he thinks that he blended it, but he's not sure. Rarely do you hear of any other of the blenders that work under Jonathan Drew, etc. So that's kind of cool. I've not heard that name as a blender before, so... Anyways, I was really excited to try this. I couldn't resist yesterday. I essentially opened up the box and immediately, after putting a few in my humidor and putting some in my friend's humidor, etc., and setting some up to ship, which are sitting in the humidor until it does ship, then I immediately came and sat out here and fired one up. Well, I'm not going to let that affect me right now. Later that night, I had a Fat Bottom Betty. I just could not resist. Get to the scents here. It has a kind of floral fruity note. Reminds me a little of like Fruity Pebbles, but it's more on the floral side. Maybe a little cocoa off the tip. Now, he says that it's a flavored tip, so very candyish. Similar to a Cuba Cuba, but not quite. There's kind of a perhaps a bit more ginger flavor in there or something like that. Um, hmm. It's like a candy shell though, and just because I got to test it, no sweetness on the other end.
So
it is only a sweetened tip.
Oh, hold on. You have to sample the other end, just like you sampled one of the dog cookies.
Yes. Well, be precise. I'll explain the dog cookie thing later. Okay, no. These were going into a sampler that I was putting up for a friend who's done so much for us, and I wanted to return some kindness. Just, I had to. So, anyways, I wanted to make sure there was something unique in it, and I'd gotten these highly, highly recommended from the Cigar Cartel, and I sat there and said, this is it. This is what I'm doing. So, these were the primaries in it. And I know my friend on occasion likes infused, and at first I didn't even think these were infused or anything. And they're, quote, again, not infused or sweetened, but they feel it.
They feel what?
Anyways, I also got some dog cookies for this friend because he sends dog treats to our dog, so I figured I'd send some dog treats to his dog. And so I don't really want to blow it away, but anyways, they're like these duplex creams, except for they're like green and pink cream and blue, and they're baked, and they smell so good out of the package when I was giving them to the dogs, and I'm sitting there like, this smells like a real cookie, and everybody that smelled them said it smells like a real cookie because I gave one to the neighbor who ended up letting the manager smell it because apparently she smelled it first before any of us, which got us smelling it, and I was like, oh, I wonder if it tastes any good. So I'm thinking I'm going to cut a piece off, and I just took a nibble off and fed the rest of the dog, but it tasted like a duplex cream. I am curious as to what I'm putting in the body of my dogs as well. I've actually had some chicken cookies that I tried that tasted like salmon, and it was gross. And then I understood why my dog didn't want to eat them.
I just want to say I agree with Aaron when it comes to putting, making sure you know what you're putting your dog in.
Anyways, between the dog story and telling you all about this wonderful cigar that I'm about to fire up, I better get this started because it's getting late. It does have a bit of a, what do you call it? A foot binder, foot cover. Yeah, I hate the term for that. The outer wrapper is longer than the cigar and is folded over and dried in place. And so you'll get kind of what looks like wonky tobaccos at the end of this. Very sweet, very sugary. Definite sugar bomb immediately. Look at that smoke. That's wonderful smoke production. Mm. Still very, very sweet. But I could taste the natural tobacco flavors behind it. retrohale is kind of a little strong, but it's kind of vegetable-like. Perhaps good strong celery, sort of, in the retrohale. It's a unique way of putting it. Well, I think I'm going to have to get into the first third of this. Let you know if the sweetness continues, because primarily right now I'm getting so much sweetness off the cap that it's very difficult to actually pick up any other flavors. So I don't want to spoil the tobaccos and stuff and just sit here and make you think it's a sugar bomb, which it is so far. Great taste, though. Very Cuba-like. I would assume that this is probably going to wear off the cap probably by halfway. And if you don't like the sweet cap, you could always clip it, turn it around, and smoke from the other end, I suppose. Because, as I said, it's not sweet down there. Oh, and another odd thing. We're sitting in Seattle, not Seattle, Washington, but close enough. We are in Washington. I'm wearing a Houston Rockets shirt and a Texas Rangers hat, and I'm reviewing a cigar from South Dakota that was rolled in Nicaragua. That's actually kind of a unique thing. Anyways, I will see you at the halfway point, and we'll be right back. Hello, and welcome back to the halfway point of this Deadwood Tobacco Company Sweet Jane. Honestly, it's the Sturgis Limited Edition, 2016, I should add. If you go to their website, you can still buy 2015s as well. I believe they're the same band. I'm not positive on that.
What about the price?
The prices are identical between the 2015 and 2016. These go for, I forgot the single stick price, but $40 for a 5-pack of the Sweet Janes. They're $50 for a 5-pack of the Fat Bottom Betties. $89 for a box of Fat Bottom Betties, which is a 10-count. I ended up getting a box.
That would be $8 a stick if you bought $40, 5 times 8.
Yes, so these work out to $8 a stick, roughly. Worth it so far. Interesting thing I should add first off on this is that this is the first time I have done a video where I've been directly in communication with at least one person responsible for the cigar blend. I've never technically had a review, not a review, but an interview. And I suppose my questions and the answers qualifies this as being an interview, even though I wish I could have had Von Boyd here having one with me. That would have been awesome, totally. But
I just have one question. Did you tell Mr. Vaughn that you would give him a link to our channel and done?
No, I didn't, but I probably will. I mean, why would I not want him to see the review? Because I already got permission to review it from him because I asked first. I mean, you never know. When it comes to a small company, you know, like Deadwood or whatever, they might have a limited production and they might not want to run out exactly, and they might want to keep their blend kind of on the down low. And
would you like to say something else?
But I was given permission to just go out and review this, and well, hopefully it doesn't flood them with sales, but it does enough for them that they love it. So,
would you like to tell the other story to our viewers?
I'd like to get on with the review, but what's the other story?
The Deadwood, one of our people we knew that I was working with died.
Yeah, we were mentioning in a video not long ago that about Deadwood, and
Jerry Croft.
Rita mentioned a saddle maker out there that she wanted to have do some work for her, and we just found out that he died 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. 2013, and we'd been in communication with him just a while before, so Jerry Croft will greatly be missed. I know that there's a lot of people out there that like Croft saddlery. Anyways, moving on to the cigar. I hate to do that now, but I'm noticing, and I don't know if it's because I was told that there's some pipe tobacco flavors in this and that would become pipe tobacco if aged any longer, but I've kind of noticed some hints of what would be a lot of Kia in this. I've noticed some kind of toasty notes, sort of root vegetable flavor, like it's been kind of unclean, maybe a earthy turnip.
So I have a question about this pipe tobacco thing, since you brought it up in this cigar. My question is so if you have a cigar that ages long enough, it turns into pipe tobacco? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
Particular blend.
Vaughn would have to answer that. He just says with this blend that they, if it was aged any longer, it would be pipe tobacco. So I don't know. Maybe pipe tobaccos are aged longer. It's not something I know. Anyways, about a quarter of the way in, the sweetness is totally wearing off, and there's some sweet notes. I'm not getting all the sweetness from the down here. It's kind of more of an aromatic pipe tobacco flavor that's coming through. Very nice flavors so far. Flawless burn. I've not needed to fix up at all. It's been like razor sharp. Lots of smoke output. This might be one of the better not infused flavored cigars with a flavored tip that I've ever had. I really want to kind of drive that home because it was clear that when his message to me, they are not infused or flavored, but this really does sneak in there and kind of make you think it is. So, especially with that flavored tip, which is so sweet. Anyways, I'll get back to you in the final third of this, and hope to see you then. Thanks. Hello, and welcome back to the final third of this Deadwood Tobacco Company Sweet Jane Sturgis Limited Edition 2016. So far, it's been a very wonderful cigar. It's about an hour and a half in. This is only like a 44 ring gauge, but I think offhand. But it is wonderful flavors. Good long burn time. Very tasty smoke. In the final third, no sweetness left. Kind of an aromatic, woodsy note. Some minor spice in there. Lots of changes and transitions that have been fabulous. Everything is gelling very well together. And this is the Fat Bottom Betty. You can't very well see, but it's a blue label. There you can see that. And it says Fat Bottom Betty here. It's also got a foot wrap down there. Now, this is at least a 52 ring gauge, I think. Sorry, I didn't write down the specs. I feel kind of unprepared on that, but hey, I wanted to get to this. It was exciting yesterday. I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. So, now, just a difference between the two, because it is the same blend. I don't see a reason to do two reviews here. So this is going to be a review of both in a way. Flavors are very similar with the Fat Bottom Betty. Difference is there's more tobacco flavors in the smaller stick. This is the first time I'm going to agree with my friend Johnny Sticks, who says that thinner ring gauges have far more flavors than the thicker ring gauges. That's rare that I would agree, because usually I find more flavor from the fillers coming out in the larger ring gauges and more of the wrapper, and in this, I don't know, this one is one that really sticks to that.
So the same cigar, just different Vitolas?
Mm-hmm.
And different wrapper.
Each Vitola has its own unique wrapper. That's why they're called the Yummy Bitches. You got Betty, you got Jane, and you've got Alice. I'd like to try the Alice. Maybe eventually I'll buy a single stick of the Alice.
What is the size of the Alice?
The Alice is a unique Vitola in the fact that it's essentially a cone, like an ice cream cone. It starts thin, works its way out to being a much larger stick. There is also a sampler, I think it's called the Yummy Bitches sampler or something, that has two of each in it. I think it was like $58 or something in that ballpark. Pretty good deal to give a try to each Vitola. But I want to thank Deadwood Tobacco Company for having had this created. Good job, Von Boyd. This is just a stellar cigar. Your customer service is fantastic. I ordered these, and I didn't know when they'd come in. I didn't get a tracking. By the time that you were able to get a tracking, it was already here. So there was no need for the tracking number, and so that was really, really awesome. I was kind of concerned because there was no shipping price, but that's because it's based on what it actually costs to ship. So I don't end up paying too much or too little, and I thought that was really cool too. So it kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop. It is windy here, and I've kind of got a little wonky burn issue going in the very end of this, but otherwise it's been spot on, fantastic. I highly recommend that if you can, contact Deadwood and get a hold of some of these, particularly if you like the flavored cap, non-infused cigars that have quite a bit of tobacco flavors in them once the sweetness wears off. And this cigar fits that bill. It really does. This might be one of the better, I'm going to go ahead and say, infused cigars I've ever had. It fits more with them because of the sweetened cap, even though it's not. It ranks up there with some of the others I've had, like the Cuba Cuba from Drew Estate as well. However, this actually is superior, I think, to the Cuba Cuba. The flavors in this are just wonderful. And I always look at infused cigars and I want to know what the tobacco tastes are. This is one I think I'd like to try without the sweetness on the tip, just because the tobacco flavors are that good. So if you're listening, Mr. Boyd, it might be a good idea to come up with a fourth bitch that has no sweetness, and even say this one has no sweetness on the tip. It is just the tobacco's as is, for those who wish to try, or something like that. I don't know. And besides, it gives you a chance to come up with another name. These names are awesome. I love them. So you definitely got my rating of approval. My recommendation goes out there. So for those of you who've stuck it out, please add and subscribe. Leave questions, comments, feedback, concerns. If you've smoked these and you agree or disagree, please let me know. Just try to keep it nice is all we ask. And enjoy every puff.